Don Nelson changed basketball forever. As a player, he won 5 NBA championships with the Boston Celtics and later became one of the most innovative coaches in NBA history. His ideas about positionless basketball spacing and small lineups helped shape the modern game. This video explores his life-career achievements, challenges, and lasting influence on basketball. What made Don Nelson unique as a basketball figure? Don Nelson was unique because he succeeded both as a player and a coach. He won 5 championships with the Celtics and later became the second winningest coach in NBA history. More importantly, he challenged traditional basketball thinking and introduced ideas that were considered radical at the time but later became standard throughout the NBA. How did Don Nelson's early life influence his basketball career? Growing up in rural Illinois, Nelson developed a strong work ethic and a deep understanding of fundamentals. He was not considered a superstar athlete, but he became known for intelligence, adaptability, and determination. These traits would later define his coaching philosophy. What did Don Nelson learn from playing with the Boston Celtics? Playing for the Celtics taught Nelson the value of teamwork, preparation, and strategic thinking. Under legendary coach Red Auerbach, he learned how successful teams exploit weaknesses, adapt to opponents, and maximize every player's strengths. Why was Don Nelson considered a high IQ player? Nelson was never the most athletic player on the court, but he understood angles, timing, positioning, and team concepts exceptionally well. His intelligence allowed him to become a key contributor on championship teams despite not being a superstar. Why is his one-handed free throw still remembered? Nelson used an unconventional one-handed free throw style that looked unusual compared to traditional techniques. It reflected his willingness to challenge accepted norms and find solutions that worked even when others disagreed. How did Don Nelson become a coach? After retiring as a player in 1976, Nelson immediately moved into coaching with the Milwaukee Bucks. He quickly established himself as one of the brightest tactical minds in basketball. What was the point forward concept? The point forward concept involved using a forward instead of a traditional point guard to initiate the offense. This allowed bigger players to handle the ball, create plays, and force defenses into uncomfortable situations. Why was the point forward revolutionary? Before Nelson, most teams relied on small guards to run the offense. Nelson recognized that larger players could pass and create opportunities just as effectively while creating matchup advantages. How did Nelson use mismatches to gain an advantage? Nelson often moved larger players away from the basket and into perimeter roles. This forced opposing centers to leave the paint, creating open driving lanes and easier scoring opportunity. Why did traditional basketball experts criticize these ideas? Many believed basketball positions should remain fixed and that teams needed traditional centers near the basket. Critics argued Nelson's experiments would fail against stronger and bigger opponents. How did Nelson respond to those criticisms? Rather than arguing publicly, Nelson let his teams prove his ideas on the court. His success and consistent winning gradually changed opinions across the league. What was Nellie Ball? Nellie Ball was the nickname given to Nelson's fast-paced offensive style. It emphasized speed, spacing, versatility, ball movement, and offensive creativity over traditional positional structures. Why was Nellie Ball ahead of its time? Many of the concepts that define modern basketball, including floor spacing, positionless players, and smaller lineups, were central features of Nellie Ball decades before they became popular. What was the Run TMC era? Run TMC was the exciting Golden State Warriors team built around Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, and Chris Mullin. Their fast-paced style became one of the most entertaining and influential teams of the early 1990s. Why is Run TMC considered historically important? Run TMC demonstrated that speed, skill, and shooting could compete with larger, more traditional teams. Many analysts view it as an early blueprint for modern NBA offenses. How did the Warriors upset San Antonio in 1991? Golden State used speed, spacing, and offensive pressure to challenge San Antonio's traditional approach. The series showed that unconventional basketball strategies could succeed in the playoffs. What is positionless basketball? Positionless basketball focuses on skills rather than traditional labels. Players are encouraged to handle the ball, pass, shoot, defend, and create opportunities regardless of their listed position. How did Don Nelson influence positionless basketball? Nelson consistently placed players in unconventional roles and encouraged versatility. His approach helped inspire future generations of multi-skilled athletes. What made the 2007 We Believe Warriors special? The Warriors entered the playoffs as the 8th seed and faced the top-seeded Dallas Mavericks. Few experts believed they could win, but Nelson's strategy helped produce one of the greatest upsets in NBA history. How did Nelson defeat the Mavericks in 2007? He used aggressive defense, fast pace, constant pressure, and unique matchups. His deep knowledge of Dallas allowed him to target weaknesses and disrupt the Mavericks' rhythm. Why is the We Believe series still remembered today? The series proved that confidence, creativity, and tactical innovation could overcome superior records and expectations. It became a symbol of believing in possibilities that others considered impossible. Did Don Nelson help change how teams value three-point shooting? Yes. While he did not create the three-point shot, he recognized its strategic importance earlier than many coaches. His emphasis on spacing and perimeter play influenced future generations. How did Nelson influence modern NBA stars? Many modern stars operate as playmakers regardless of position. The versatility seen in players such as LeBron James and Luka Doncic reflects concepts Nelson promoted decades earlier. What criticisms did Don Nelson face throughout his career? Some critics believed he experimented too much, relied heavily on offense, and lacked the discipline required to win a championship as a coach. Others felt his unconventional methods sometimes created instability. Did those criticisms diminish his impact? No. Even critics acknowledged his creativity and influence. Many of his once controversial ideas eventually became accepted basketball principles. Why did Don Nelson never win an NBA championship as a coach? Although he coached many successful teams, circumstances, injuries, competition, and roster limitations prevented him from reaching the NBA Finals as a head coach. How do analysts evaluate his coaching legacy today? Most analysts consider him one of the greatest innovators in basketball history. His influence extends far beyond wins and losses because he changed how coaches think about strategy. What lessons can be learned from Don Nelson's career? Innovation often faces resistance before acceptance. Success requires the courage to challenge established ideas. Adaptability can create competitive advantages. Creative thinking can unlock hidden potential in people and teams. Long-term influence can be as important as championships. Why is Don Nelson called an architect of modern basketball? Many tactical elements common in today's NBA, including pace, spacing, positionless basketball, and versatile playmaking, were promoted by Nelson years before they became mainstream. What is Don Nelson's lasting legacy? Don Nelson's legacy is that of a visionary who transformed basketball thinking. He demonstrated that creativity, intelligence, and courage could redefine an entire sport. His ideas continue to influence coaches, players, and teams throughout the world. Finally, Don Nelson may be gone, but his impact remains visible every time a team spreads the floor, uses a positionless lineup, or empowers players to do more than traditional roles once allowed. His career serves as a reminder that innovation often begins with the courage to think differently. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe for more educational sports stories and in-depth basketball history content.